even when I'm just talking to nothing, I'm socially awkward. Hi. If you clicked on my channel, you know my username. It's Blake45. This is going to be my second video, I suppose. And in keeping with the first video, which was a reading of some really bad writing I did, like I listened back to it recently and it was horrendous. In the same vein as that, my plan for this channel is I just sit down, I talk about things once or twice a week, I play video games in the background, and I just talk about, you know, whatever is on my mind. I have not decided on something, but I think I will talk about, you know, what the internet has led to in terms of, like, our processing of information. So, I will say that this is not an issue that started with the internet, but it is an issue that is exacerbated by the internet. And I feel like that is an important distinction to make, right? Because a lot of things nowadays are started by the internet, are exacerbated by the internet.
Someone's not popping balloons.
Internet. But even if we were to somehow fix all these things, for example, social media's effect on, like, depression.
Someone's not popping balloons.
On mental health. These were problems before we had social media. And as a result, us simply removing social media from the equation would not work. We have things to talk about. But I want to talk about social media's effect on discourse and conversation. And I'm sure we've all noticed it if we've had social media for any period of time, that social media does not lend itself very well to having well-informed, thought-out conversations. I'm sure, like, especially on platforms like, you know, Twitter. Everyone's favorite social media platform, Twitter, does not lend itself well to conversations because Twitter prioritizes whatever post you interact with the most, and so
someone's not popping balloons.
It recommends the most inflammatory posts that people complain about the most on. And so, from one side, discussions rage bait, but it's an issue outside of Twitter as well. But what that does is it encourages us to be more one-sided in our conversations. To get more attention, you need to be more one-sided, you need to be more inflammatory, and I think that goes beyond just what you're posting. It also influences how you think, because all you're seeing is people being inflammatory. Even if you aren't engaging with that, that affects you. That affects how you think. You know, I'm a Christian, so I'll say that ultimately the Bible does tell us that whatever we consume, whatever goes in, thus, like, stuff will come out in equal measure, right? I think everyone, regardless of if they're Christian, can see that in life, that whatever goes in comes out. It comes out. Whatever goes into the heart comes out. And that's the thing with social media. It is directly putting that into your heart. Social media encourages you to put all this horrible, like, stuff in your heart. Then, as a result, it changes things. I'm trying to think about where it was going. Social media changes how you think. Yes, and that influences what we say in our day-to-day. That influences how we go about our normal conversations as well, outside of offline, even in online spaces. Like, let's say, Discord, text messages, all of that. It slowly changes you to be more inflammatory and slowly changes conversations to be more one-sided. And that's a problem that we're facing, because even before then, those same principles of interactions and sales and all that, they were happening in the newspaper. Like, newspapers reported on horrible things more than they reported on less horrible things even there in, like, normal mainstream news. If you turn on the news, if you go to the news website, you'll find substantially more horrible things than anything else, because that is how we think, and it's being exacerbated by social media. We can't just... And that's the thing with arguments as well. It encourages more one-sided conversations. It encourages you to have more one-sided, like, prepositions, be more extreme, because that's what gets you, like, it's what you're seeing. It's what's being trained in your brain to give you the most reactions. If I'm making sense, I think I am.
All you can eat.
So, as a result of that, that is a heavy part of the current polarization in our society. And, you know, there are a lot of other issues going on in society. I think I have full confidence in our ability to fix all of these issues we're having. Right? But in order to do that, the ability to talk with each other and figure out how to fix them, what is going on. Our society being so polarized, we can't really do that. We can't really have those hard conversations because of how we're being trained to think, how we're being trained to talk, how we're being trained to act. You know, I brought my normal videos not all my videos are but it is a genuine problem that I think social media has been lending itself to, and we're just now that we're having all these major problems. We're just now seeing that we can't, as a society, have a normal conversation anymore. Because it's now showing its face, and it's become too late, and it's becoming too late to stop it. Right? It's something we have to face head on. And maybe this is really stupid to do that while placing down talk about this sort of thing while placing down marketplaces in Bloons Tower Defense 6.
Slice and dice.
Because things like media, it's one of our best options for getting out those communications, getting out everything.
Slice and dice.
It allows something where we can communicate with one another.
Slice
I don't know why I'm saying that. I'm placing down marketplaces in Bloons Tower Defense 6. Talking about the state of society. I cannot go deep. This is just... I like bananas. Look at that, look at that. Marketplace is almost made of that. I love this video game. Yeah, I need more ammo.
Slice. Someone's not popping blooms. Slice and dice.
But like I was saying, as a society, try to, like, recognize
and
we're
dice.
becoming more polarized. That is the first step to healing, and I fall victim to this as well. Like, especially in discussions about things I have very strong opinions on, like AI art and all of that sort of stuff. I am very, very polarized about that. I do not.
Slice and dice. Slice and dice.
It hampers good conversation.
Slice and dice.
Hampers a lot of stuff. It makes actually talking so difficult. That is, I've said this like 1,000 times, but social media is one of the symptoms, and it's only exacerbating. That makes sense. I don't know if it does.
Slice and dice.
Like I was saying, social media, another thing it does is it pushes first impressions. Y'all, first impressions are something that we all have to deal with. First impressions are something that we judge people based on. Social media really pushes them.
Slice and dice.
That's one of our main problems. Social media pushes all this stuff. And like I was saying, this is not just social media, right? This was a major problem. Everything before social media. All you get on news network. It's getting worse in the modern age. Social media catapulted it into a new era of horribleness. Horribleness is not a proper term. It is not a proper word. I apologize. Die right now. My bad. But yeah, we need to acknowledge it's a problem, and we need to acknowledge that blaming social media doesn't fix it.
Slice and dice.
That's what we do. As a society, we need to look at ourselves. Look at how we're communicating. Right? I just realized there's a 50% chance I'm barely audible. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. We need to look as a society and address how we're thinking, how we're communicating, how we're doing all of this stuff. We need to acknowledge it isn't social media, and we need to make a change. That is the part that gets neglected so often. We need to find a way to make a quantifiable change. That's one of the things that is taught to you whenever you're writing an essay. You need to provide a quantifiable change that your reader can take right away. And that's something that we struggle with, you know, whenever we're talking about these things. So what can you do whenever you're talking with someone? The answer is simple. Slow down and listen. Genuinely evaluate their point. Don't just give in to the first impression of the post, you know? Look, like, think about what they're saying, evaluate it, consider, especially for social media, if it's worth their time, if they're actually looking to have a genuine conversation. Don't write them off immediately, obviously, but, you know, evaluate all of that. Consider all of this stuff and then reply. For every 3 seconds you speak, for every 1 second you speak, spend 2 seconds thinking. You know? And that's something I need to work on myself. It's something that I feel like would help us as a society so much more. With just the whole polarization in society right now. If we slow down and listen and think and we don't do what we're being encouraged to do. That's about all I have to say, you know. Yay. I love polarization, and I love basically just contributing another podcast to the world. Next video will be my opinions on Legend of Heroes, I don't know. Okay, bye.